Hello everyone, I'm Kavin. I was the person behind the camera in this YouTube channel and wanted to try something different. So here I am in front of it now. And the goal is to kind of discuss science and the people behind it, but not maybe at the very high level, but just starting off with people that I know of. And today I have someone with me who has been a familiar face, who has appeared multiple times on this YouTube channel, and is very bright academic. Um, anyway, इससे ज़्यादा I can't give an intro for you. We have Atharv Ambekar, who's doing a PhD in Netherlands. He's a biologist, specifically a microbiologist. Can I say that now, or is it after the PhD? But anyway, he's doing valid research, and here he is today to share about his life and how things are panning out right now in the Netherlands and how it was before that. So, hello, welcome. आ जाओ.
Hello, all. I am honored to be invited on this talk show by the one and only Bhagwan, Mr. Kavin Kumar. Thank you for
Yeah.
having me. And a very bad introduction, if I may say. What does bright academic and etc. mean? Eh,
I'm.
Anyway,
I just struggle to speak with people in front of the camera.
nice. Kavin entering his podcast bro era.
Anyways, more over dramatic reactions. So, yeah. बताओ तुम कौन हो? Like,
So, I am Atharv Ambekar. I
hmm.
am in my first year of my PhD right now at Swammerdam Institute of Life Sciences in University of Amsterdam, and I work on microbial metabolism in rhizosphere, like that as a broad topic. So, yeah.
Okay. So, like, what is microbial rhizobium? What is this? What does it mean? थोड़ा simplified
Okay.
terms में.
Okay. So every plant that we know of now, we often talk about the holobiome view of life, which means that every macroorganism will, so any plant that you know or any human, it's not just one organism, but it also consists of like its associated microbiota, which contains different microorganisms like bacteria, fungi, archaea, eukaryotes, etc., and so on. So now, what I am trying to do is to look at the plant-associated microbiome, which specifically focusing on the rhizosphere, which is the root-associated microbiome. To look at,
So these are microbes that live in the root of any plant.
yeah, so they include the root, the ones which are residing inside the root as well as like within proximity. So they can be like physically present in the soil, but they might be recruited by the plant. So plant secrete some exudates which are like uh, high sugary compounds with a lot of carbon and nitrogen sources, which attract these microorganisms. So they can be, and the plant does that with the goal of recruiting beneficial microbes, which might help it support its growth, etc. And so those microbes, when they are associated with the plant, so we consider them as a part of the root associated microbiome.
Okay. So what do you uh, like? Is there a immediate application in society, or like is there something more long term that you want to eventually discuss? I mean, sorry, discover on the way. Um, what like piqued your interest in this subject?
So, what picked my interest is a bit different. It started off with when I attended a talk by Dr. Jyoti Lakshmi from National Institute of Plant Genome Research in New Delhi. So in that talk, she discussed about plant microbe interactions and how a plant recruits its microbiota, what kind of interactions happen there. So that was something which caught my eye, and I started like reading about this, and I found this topic quite interesting. So I decided to hang around a bit here. And yeah, like the immediate applications of what I am trying to do is to see, so if we are able to look at strategies which microorganisms have evolved when they are being recruited by the plant, or what changes are they making in the metabolic compounds which are secreted by plant into the soil, then we can use those strategies as bioengineering tools to uh, to potentially engineer microbes which can perform one particular function that we might be interested in, like be it plant growth promotion or disease prevention and so on. Because so the larger goal of the research is to work towards global food security.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's good. That's fancy. Um, but so did you get about like an idea about this since like a young age? You were like motivated to go into science, or is that something you picked up on the way? You had options open, and then you narrowed down into academia, and then thought of doing a PhD.
Yeah. So like I I mean, in school, just after school, it was like, yeah, let's just take science because that's what every student in India does. And yeah, but like after that, like during 10, like 11th and 12th, when I was like preparing, so at that time I was in an engineering coaching, and essentially I was studying PCM at that time. And at that time I had thought that I will work in chemistry. So, I mean, I used to find chemistry quite interesting. But then afterwards, I joined this amazing institute called IISER Bhopal for my bachelor's and master's. And
Yes, that was my next
there,
question. Like, how was your life in ISER?
I'll get to life in IISER, but before
Okay,
that,
yeah,
like,
the career
yeah,
path,
in
trajectory.
yeah, in the first question, in the first year, I f found the chemistry courses and biology courses, both of them interesting. But uh, later I decided that I had a discussion with one of the instructors in one of the bio instructors in our first year, and we like what exactly questions that I want to address, what kind of career options I want to keep open for myself. Do I want to do I want to be in a field in which my industry options are like quite narrowed down, or do I want to keep them open for like a future thought? So that's why I decided I made a decision to go forward in biological sciences rather than in chemistry at that time.
Mm.
And then, as I said, that I heard a talk by Dr. Jyoti Lakshmi, and that is what prompted me to look at this area. Because again, I my interest in chemistry is also one of the reason that I am here, because we like even though I'm talking more in microbial sense right now, that we work with this microbe, that microbe, or plants, we also look at a lot of metabolites, a lot of secondary metabolites which are secreted by plants. That how can they affect the microbiota? So we use a lot of analytical chemistry techniques to detect these molecules and quantify them. So yeah, that is what proved helpful later as well.
And did you have any other research experience on the way, like through ICER or through other places? Like, did you have an exploratory phase?
Yeah, so I did have an exploratory phase, but so one unfortunate thing is that because of COVID, I didn't have a chance to work on any system other than plants or microbes for that matter. But yeah, so in my first year internship I did in IISER Pune, in which I worked on plant insect interactions. That is where the thought of working with plants sort of caught my eye. And yeah, there I realized that, like, yeah, maybe humans are not so cool to work with, humans or mammals or anything. Humans are not worth saving. So yeah, better save plants. Yeah. But yeah, in second year I wanted to do an internship in IISc in snake venom evolution, just like as a just to explore that field. But unfortunately, because of COVID, I couldn't get that chance. Yeah. And after that came, like, I did some internships here and there, and then I ended up in my master's project in which I worked a lot with microorganisms. So I worked with the soil microbiota, not in a plant context, but like in the native microbiota context. So yeah, that is how my hand at microbiology sort of started gripping. And then later I joined NCBS in Dr. Ambekkar's lab, where I started. That was the first time where I was working with plants and microbes. So that was indeed like one of my best research experiences. So yeah,
And from
and
there,
later
like,
I joined here for a PhD. Sorry.
right, like, what was the like application process, and uh, how was the emotion surrounding that? Like, because so many people go through it in the PhD application phase, and uh,
Yeah,
what was your thought process on that?
yeah. PhD applications are like so. uh, uh, Again, I have said this a lot of times to friends and like to students who I know that they are applying, that it is somewhat like a gamble. It's somewhat like a calculated lottery, that it's just that if you send out more applications, you have a better chance of like getting into somewhere. But again, there's a trade-off, like at what time, at after what point do you consider that applic your application is of like a good quality? Have you spent some time thinking about, if you actually get that position, then are you like willing to go forward in that field for like whatever the 3 to 4 years or more than that? So yeah, that is some thought that every individual who considers doing PhD should have for themselves. And there is no like a general answer for that. There is no easy answer for that. So it's just that every student has to make that thought, or make that decision for themselves.
There's just too many external factors that influence, and it's not
Yeah,
necessarily that your application quality was the reason behind multiple rejections.
exactly. Yeah.
Right.
After a point, I think everyone has like a good caliber, a good academic requirements, a good what do you say, a good potential to do a PhD. It's just that, like, maybe your application came a little bit late, and someone else submitted first, so that might be one of the what do you say, considerations. um, just something that maybe a professor is biased against people who are working in that particular subfield that you did your master's project in. Just these are something which are much beyond your control. So yeah.
Just for a number, maybe, like, how many applications did you apply? Like,
Mm, if you so I had I had applied to some places during my master's year, and some places 1 year after that. So
yes,
basically, like, if you consider that like the total
both.
application period for like 2 years, then that might be something like, I think, 50 applications. But
Wow.
these are independent of cold email though, like
Right.
application, like yeah, cold emails I had sent like several. I had like every almost every day I used to send two or something like that. So yeah, this is one thing that I did, that like I had a list of professors in mind. that in I mean not only in mind, in like in like a sheet as well, in Google Sheets as well. But yeah, then I used to like read their research. If I liked them, only then I sent them an email, and if they had a position, then I applied to that position, etc. Yeah.
Like, yeah, typically people think it's something that just eventually comes like as a direct path, whereas people who go through that understand that there's been uh, immense
Yeah,
repetitive process of applying. So yeah, I
exactly.
just wanted to, it's like knowing that everyone goes through that same thing.
Yeah.
And
I mean, failure is the norm in this case.
yeah,
Success is like an exception. Yeah.
as you said, lottery. So
Lottery. Yeah.
yes. So coming back to a previous question that I had asked was about life in IISER. How influential was it compared to, I don't know, I can't compare because that's just one thing you went through. But yeah, like how did it mold you into maybe a person and maybe as a researcher? Yeah, you can tell
So,
something in that.
I mean, one thing that I often feel that as people from ISIS, we have a little so we can do a lot of interdisciplinary thinking over people who have uh, like studied just say like they have done their bachelor's and master's in like one
In a
particular
specific
field.
degree, yeah.
Yeah, so I think there we seem to have like a little bit of edge. Everyone who studies in ISIS for that matter, and yeah, uh, we also are used to talking in terms of, so at least for the biological sciences I can say that. I'm not sure about like other fields, but at least like in biological sciences we are exposed to a lot of techniques which are often not taught in like a standard university setup. So that is something that I like really liked. We know about what techniques are like being used actively in research right now. So that's just like a part of our curriculum. So we do it as lab experiments. Even though like the lab practicals, which some we when we used to do it, we often used to feel that they are somewhat like pointless because it's like there are 50 students, not all of them can do the experiment. So it's like they club you into groups, and then you cannot do it independently. But still, just having sorry, just just having this exposure, that really helps. And knowing what the technique is, knowing what is the principle behind it, that really helps. Yeah.
Like, yeah, I wanted to also know, like, in a cultural perspective, how did you find the community and like the just the people around? Was it just different from the kind of people you encountered, say, in school or general outside? Uh, did it feel like a academic bubble in a sense? It was that good or bad in any way?
Yes, like the word you used, academic bubble. That's like a nice what do you say, description. Yeah, and quite literally, like since we were in IISER Bhopal for that matter, which our viewers, I'm pretty sure they know it's IISER Bhori. And it so we were quite literally a bubble far away from like any kind of external influence or anything, unless you want to count Rahul Bhaiya. So yeah. Yeah, but that like being in a gated community, it was quite a learning experience. Yes, that's true. Like when I started off, I was quite like even in most of the time in first year, I was like a very silent guy. I didn't talk a lot with people outside my like friend group, like my initial friend group, which was just like my roommate and like a couple of more people. But then later on, pardon?
Then बहुत बोलने लग गया.
हाँ, then बहुत बहुत बोलने लग गया. Then so yeah, there was some kind of like what do you say? Mm, I mean, I just started to realize that, yeah, maybe it's not that I need to be an expert to do something. I can just like be myself. I don't need to prove anyone that I am some expert in like anything that I did, like maybe quizzing or dramatics or anything, like being in that. What was that? Oh, the gossip thing. RC.
Okay.
Uh, this thing, yeah. So yeah, so that's what, like, I can learn a job uh, while doing it. So that's something that is like one experience and one learning that came with these kind of exposures. That you, it's fine. You don't need to be an expert to be like in some place. Yeah, you can you can learn and you can become an expert while you are on the job. I mean, that doesn't mean that, yeah, I will just go to a nuclear scientist and say that, yeah, get off, I'm going to be a nuclear scientist now. That's not what I mean to say. But yeah, you get what I'm trying to say.
Right. Right. Um, yeah, it's like a gradual growth
Yeah,
and a sense of maturity just sets in.
right.
You like, yeah, like, but was it like a humbling experience, like in a sense that you got exposed to like some significant names in across the like life in academia? Has there been moments where
Yeah,
it's
true.
humbling?
Like, yeah, just because like we are from an institute like IISER, which is sort of like well known within Indian academic community. So, like being at these institutions, so often the faculty within India, they expect you to like be well versed with certain techniques. They expect you to be of a certain caliber, and yeah, that is again a double-edged sword. So you need to prove your mettle there. You cannot just be like complacent that, yeah, I am from IISER, I know everything. No, nothing like that. But still, it just gives you like I mean, I would say like a tad bit more advantage
Hmm.
in a faculty perception per se. And like, yeah, these things allow you to like be it a part of PhD interview or like just networking events or conferences or anything. They allow you to interact with a lot of like big names, as you said, in academia. So yeah, and it's always like in academia and as well as everywhere, like you might have heard in all these YouTube podcasts and everything, that your network is your net worth. So in 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 that context, that holds true in academia as well. I think that, yeah, you need to build contacts with people who, and they it may not be like because you want something from them or anything. It's just like good to know the people, that so that in future if you need anything, then that is all, then that door is always open. Otherwise, it's fine. Like, yeah, you can just know someone for like who they are, rather than, yeah, I may need something from him or her.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Any specific encounter that like that was like really motivating, or like you didn't know that person a lot about, but then suddenly they're like amazing, or like that inspired you or pushed you to pursue science, or just in life in general?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, when so this was like uh, after our graduation per se, like after our convocation. So I had attended a chemical ecology school in IISc. So as a part of that, there was one talk by uh, a scientist in Indian Institute of Horticulture Research, IIHR. So her name is Dr. Kamla Jayanti. So that institute, so it's not like IISERs or IISc, they don't have like so much of a funding. I mean, it is more of like a applied science research, but again, like that was something that like I saw for the first time, that what kind of research happens in applied universities as well, like be it like agriculture universities or like these kind of like horticulture research institute and so on. So I mean, in like such minimal facilities, those guys have translated our like these kind of like pure science research. They have translated into on-field applications so well, like in like within just, I think it was a 20-minute talk, but that lady, Dr. Kamala Jayanti, so she talked about like so many different insects that she has helped to insect pests that she has helped various farmers to like do a biocontrol or any kind of like sustainable
So
agricultural practices and
without using
pest
chemical
management.
fertilizers, like
Yeah.
say use predatory insects or something organic
Yeah,
to
something
ward
like
off
so.
those
In
pests.
her case, it was more like using pheromones. So,
Okay.
yeah, using those insect pheromones to either attract them to one particular spot, which is like away from your field, or to like just just shoo them away. Basically, use repellent pheromones and so on. So yeah, like that. So again, for us, for us who are like in this non-applied research, we should just say right now, like there is nothing as pure non-pure, but still, yeah, like we just consider that as like one of the concept, that yeah, there is a concept of pheromone, and like we yeah, there might be this X molecule which is like attractant for this insect. But applying that to a field, because there are thousands of considerations that you need to take, that if that chemical is toxic to the plant itself, if that chemical is toxic to humans, if there are thousands of these considerations that you need to take. And with like such small infrastructure, such little funding, and such tight regulations, that too, I mean, I'm not sure if I should say this, but yeah, the government puts a lot of what do you say, deadlines and goals for these uh, like these kind of scientists, like the applied research. So in that, what work she has done, and scientists at these kind of institutes have done, that is like quite inspiring. So that just what do you say, reinstilled the motivation for science, that yeah, even if something that I do isn't isn't applied, isn't useful to the common man right now, it might be in like a matter of few years. So yeah, that was something
Like,
which was like really
yeah,
inspiring.
I wanted to ask this because it's like a common thing that when I say I'm studying about galaxies, people are like, What's the point studying that? Like, वो पढ़ के क्या करोगे?" And
Yeah,
yeah, it's basically you need these tidbits of knowledge and like useless information,
exactly.
which you never know will be useful for someone else, and
Yeah,
that's how like collectively science grows and eventually it gets applied into things that you might be
right.
using. A lot of things we use around has such deep scientific history that people are
Exactly.
just unaware of. So yeah, that's why like so-called pure science needs backing and
Yeah.
support. Uh,
Both the branches of this, like pure and applied. I mean, I'm not sure if I should say that they are two different branches. They are like, yeah, maybe
Go
like
on.
two sides of a coin or something like that. Yeah. But still, yeah, both of them are like equally important in their in what their endeavors are. Yeah.
Right. And moving on to a more personal aspect. So people, when I meet who want to do a PhD abroad, they're like, the focus is of course on the project itself, but there are also cases where it's just a desperation to get out of the country. Uh, so, but there's also, other than the work aspect, there is also a social aspect involved when moving to a completely new country and culture. So, what has been your experience dealing with the work life and the cultural life in comparison to India? Uh, do you like, are there pros and cons? What do you find the work better there, or do you find the social life better there? What's like, it's a personal thing, but uh, what do you find different between Europe, or like Netherlands maybe specifically, and India? Like, you've seen the academic circuits in both places, so I'm asking.
Yeah. So I think by academic circuits, they are like I wouldn't say that they're very different. The there being like a close-knit community in your field, that you know that at least in these regions there are like these scientists who work on this field. I think that is quite similar in like all across the world, I feel. Like in India also we have these three science clusters which we always like refer to, like in Delhi, Kolkata, and Bangalore. Um, and we so uh, one difference in like a cultural aspect that I can just mention, cultural in the sense not like cultural, but like in the lab culture per
Within the
se,
academic
is within the
setup.
academic setup, is that like here we often value, like in Europe we often value work-life balance a bit more. In India,
Hmm.
when we so in India when we do experiments, we are more like, yeah, we make a plan that, yeah, this experiment needs to be done even if that involves like staying late at night, I will do that. So we always give priority to like science rather than I mean science or fear of PI, I don't know. But for at least when I used to do, I used to fear science, not my PI. But yeah, yeah. But I feel that like within Europe they so it's more like they do PhD for as they consider it as their job. They consider that, yeah, that is like one of the work that I do, but also I have a life outside that. So that is something that I feel that like within India sometimes we tend to like forget. Again, like this is not the case for everyone. There are people uh, who end up like doing some great work as well as having like their having a life outside. Like the best example I could think of is like my master's PI, Dr. Nishad from IISER Pune. So he had like a fantastic PhD at IISc, and also he's a classical music singer.
Wow.
So I mean he and that too like at a professional level. So it's essentially like he has two careers. So yeah, I mean these kind of people, yeah, they just inspire that, yeah, you can also. So it's like in be it like India or be it Netherlands or like anywhere, it's like whatever whatever resources are provided to you, how best can you utilize them? That is something that you should learn in your PhD or in general in life as well. And I think it will work out. So yeah,
Uh,
that was just
and
like one of the differences. Yeah,
right.
that I thought.
And what about like the, like in general, like living, and because it's PhD is a long term project, and you are like kind of like living there for a bunch of years. So uh, what is something like you expected, but maybe like you're hyped about something but it didn't turn out that great, and maybe some things you were completely unexpected and it was amazing, not necessarily academic but in general, like life outside, any aspect that you feel that way?
Mm, so to be fair, I mean, I just said that everyone should have a life outside academia, but I'm not sure if I have a lot of it. But no, I mean, that was just a joke. But yeah, so I do see people. Wait, sorry, what was the question again?
So, like so do you have um like yeah, like some things before you left India, you would have had some expectations that यूरोप में ऐसा होगा वैसा
Right,
होगा,
right.
like some things you would have thought so such a way, and then it's like not that इतना hype नहीं है, like kind of thing. But other aspects is like you wanted like you didn't expect, you didn't know about it, and then it turned out well, maybe from an academic perspective or in general, like living there for I think a year
Yeah,
now.
so
So
in living, I often like as Indians we often have this thing that yeah, our country is dirty, every other country is like super clean and stuff like that. But again, like like after I came here, I realized that there are some regions which are like quite dirty, which some regions which have a lot of tourists and stuff. Then there are some regions which they like keep clean and stuff like that. So yeah, there are differences like there not differences, like there are some things that we expect a lot of like yeah, if we just go to Europe or if we go to America, then yeah, our life will be amazing. Then or go to Australia, sorry, I forgot. Then yeah. But
hmm.
again, it's like it's just a different setting. So yeah, I mean, it has a lot of pros and cons at both ends. Like in India, for example, like uh, you in most Indian institutions, like again coming to an academic perspective, in most Indian institution, you can uh, afford to invest a lot of time to your research because say like you don't have to worry about food, you can eat it in canteen. In and I don't know, like you often most of the times you stay within campus, like in hostels or like nearby campus, so you don't need to think a lot about traveling time and stuff like that. In abroad, that's sort of a like one of the considerations that you need to make, that at least like say once or twice a week you need to invest some time in cooking. Otherwise, if that doesn't, if that is not the case, then you need to like spend enough money on eating outside. You need to make a balance, and there is no one fixed answer for that again. So everyone has to make the best use of resources available to them. That's that's the quote for today.
I have two more questions. Uh, how is how do you remain? PhD is a very long journey. It's like a marathon, people say. So, how do you remain motivated to go every day and like today I'll go study about microbes in the root.
Yeah.
Like, how do you
Uh,
motivate yourself? Is it something naturally coming
yeah.
in, or like
I
yeah,
mean, I'm not sure
what
if
keeps you
this
going?
is the yeah, I'm not sure if this is the case for everyone, but at least for me, I don't consider like motivation like as something that yeah, that is something that will just help you reach the goal, or like you should have a goal in mind so that you can you need to like be somewhere or something like that. For me, motivation is basically like my routine, my discipline. That yeah, I know every day I need to go to the lab. I need to do these experiments. This is how this is how I'm going to get my PhD done, for that matter. I mean, if not looking at the larger goal that like yeah, if this is how humans will achieve global food security, that scientists like me and you will keep on working some way or the other, etc., etc. But yeah, for me it's just like a discipline that uh, if I am disciplined enough that I don't uh, I mean I am true to myself in the sense that yeah, I have to work, then I don't think that I generally don't feel that like yeah, today I don't feel like working. If I have some work, be it like either reading a paper or this thing, that work is most of the times allotted by me. It's not like someone else is forcing me to do that.
Hmm.
So uh, I mean that is ideally how PhD should be. So you should know what the next step of your, like what your next experiment should be, what approach should be there. Of course, like there are people who will help you with that, like your PI, other lab members, etc. But again, you should have like some path in mind, that, and the motivation is only that you have to walk on the path. It should be independent of if the path will like lead to some goal or not. Your
Hmm.
motivation should be just that you are walking on the path, yeah, and making best use of your resources.
Valuable lessons for me. I need to implement this. um, I'm still struggling in that aspect, but okay. Um, so
It is
yeah,
human to do that. Yeah.
and yeah. So final question is like general. So because there are so many people who are applying and like are looking forward to do a PhD as an alternate engineering doctor के अलावा क्या करोगे kind of setup.
Hmm.
Yeah, like what's your like general advice? Like, is it good? Is it bad? What's your opinion? What would you say to someone who's just starting off into research? Yeah.
I think so. Again, you're asking the wrong person for advice. It's not like I have finished my PhD and
Yes,
I'm
yes,
free to,
agreed.
yeah.
But the thing is, you have crossed the
Yeah.
stage compared to someone who's just starting off. So of course they'll
Hmm.
have even more experience and say, but maybe 5 years later, if we talk, you'll have different things to say, but
Different
uh,
answer. Yeah.
different answers. But like so far, what you have witnessed, of course,
Yeah.
people change. That's
Uh,
way. But what
Yeah.
you've witnessed based on that,
I think it's just that like everyone should consider that PhD is not a, so it's not like you are going to, you need to be like very patient, in the sense that you're not going to just one day walk into the lab and say, yeah, Eureka, experiment ho gaya, and yeah, give me my Nobel Prize. Not like that. So
it's
it
like that
it
running
needs to
race
be
in
like a
some
very,
great dictator.
yeah, yeah, it's not like the race from Running Dictator. It's more like this thing, the Forest Gumps, that I just felt
Ah,
like a run. So yeah, I'm just running. So again, you you need to be aware of what all things are uh, like what all things are a part of a PhD. It's not just research. There are many more things, like be it like communicating, writing papers, like uh, I don't know, securing funding for that matter. That's also a case for some people, courses and a lot of things. So, and not only related to academics as well. You should grow as a person. So you should always start with the end in mind, that yeah, I I don't know, I should know that uh, why I am doing this, why what do you say? Uh, this is something that you should know before starting. I'm saying that after at the end of my PhD, what do I aim to achieve with that? So yeah, you're not going to earn a lot of money. I mean, let's just be honest. We are not. We, we are. I mean, I'm saying during your PhD.
yes, yes,
In the
yes, yes.
end, again, depends
Maybe.
what career path you take
Yeah.
and everything. But during your PhD, you are going to be earning much less than your colleagues who are like in industry or like doing IT jobs or anything. So yeah, that is one thing. But again, I think it's good for like starting off as a financially independent person. It is good for keeping you motivated towards science. It is good for giving, it is good for using your brain in a sense that it it might in the future benefit mankind in some way. So yeah.
On that deep
That's
philosophical
it.
ending, thank you so much for your valuable
Yeah,
time in the
deep
middle of a
philosophical
busy
endings
phase.
by people who will now like just go to sleep and maybe watch Insta reels and something. Yeah.
So yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's like a new trial, new attempt at things. Um, yeah, so I wanted to start with a familiar face who's comfortable in front of the camera, unlike me.
I'm only only comfortable in front of Kavin's camera.
So yeah, do watch our collaborative effort in previous videos where we went to IISER Pune's laboratory as well. But yeah, it was nice getting an insight from another person in another opposite hemisphere of the world, and and knowing that things are similar in a sense. And I hope people got to learn something or like know something new through this, hopefully. But yeah, thank you so much.
Nice. Thank you.
On that note, I'll end this. Thank you so much. Bye bye.